everyone. I'm here today with Shawn Watts, the co-founder and CEO of Corfix. Corfix and Strategies Group have been working together for over a year at this point, and we really like the synergy that we've built together and are excited about the platform and the Corfix platform coming together. So I brought Shawn here to kind of talk through a little bit of what Corfix is about and how we integrate with Acumatica. So, Shawn, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Salina. Really good intro. Likewise, very good. Getting to know your team and working with your team this closely over the last year, it's been great.
Yeah, likewise. I really have enjoyed working with the Corfix team. So I wanted to kind of get into back when you guys started the platform, what was the original pain point or gap in the construction industry that sparked the idea to start Corfix?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a sort of typical founder journey. I actually worked on the tools myself. So I worked 10 years as a unionized iron worker, working boots on the ground on the job site. And ultimately, the pains that we solve today are the pains that I was feeling back then. So, I was being asked to run large scale projects, everything from managing schedules, budget, production, and safety. And, there was this inflection point in my career where documentation had just taken over and was really, really being forced down our throats. So as somebody who was managing a large scale project, that fell on me. And I began to kind of observe around me all of the influx of paperwork, and the processes and procedures were changing around liability and regulation. And I had observed all the same that there was no real product or technology or solution to handle this increase in paperwork. So I was super naive, and I thought I'd take, a little bit of money in a few months and build some product to change the world. And 6.5 years later, here we are.
Yeah, just a little bit of money and time, not your whole life and your whole life savings. But so how this is a little different than some of the other founders in the industry. Some people come from a tech background and find out that construction is an industry that needs a little bit more of an influx of tech, or they are a serial entrepreneur, or they do a lot of other things. But this is a unique experience because you actually were in the field and kind of got to know these pain points firsthand because you experienced them. So how did that real world experience shape how you guys started the platform and how you are still continuing to run the company at Corfix?
Yeah, so it's everything, right? Like experiencing this helped me understand that how big of a problem it was. And then looking around me, I could quickly see this wasn't a problem isolated to my company. I wasn't working for a company that didn't care or didn't invest in technology. I was just working for every other construction company. So, when I started to understand how widespread this issue was and how more and more emphasis was being pushed on documentation, it really was a no-brainer to create a solution to solve those problems. So one of the I would say is our strengths is not only myself. We have other people in the company that have a pretty extensive construction background, but really architecting the product and its workflows and how it's being used through the lens of the worker rather than a construction manager, a business owner, a project manager even. So using those real life experiences in the early days to create a product that would actually be used by a sector that has a huge aversion to technology, right? So we quickly understood that, hey, this won't work. Like, although our engineers think this solution is great, I know that a construction worker won't use this. So, using those experiences really helped us stay the course and understand, what problems we needed to solve and how we needed to solve those.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that bottom up approach is actually very useful when it comes to tech, because although the C-suite and the entire organization is concerned about the data and the numbers and making sure that things are in place, it doesn't work unless your field workers are actually adopting that system. So taking that approach and really looking through the lens of, okay, will somebody in the field actually use this? Will a superintendent on a job enforce that their team uses this? Things like that are just like extremely important when it comes to construction technology. And sometimes companies are missing the mark when it comes to that. They're just create a beautiful platform and think everybody will use it. But what's the psychology behind that? Like why are users adopting this, or how is this making an end user's life easier? I think that's important, and it's great that you've developed your company in that way. So how has the Corfix solution evolved a little bit from where it was before when you guys first hung up the hard hats and started working at on the platform? How has it evolved since then? And what are some unique things that you see in the platform today that you never even envisioned back then?
Yeah, so it's evolved an enormous amount, and I continue to go back to the word naive, because had I known like how big this was and how long the road was, like I'm not sure I would have started the journey, right? But we started very simply to help sort out document management, right? So influx of paperwork flying around everywhere. How do we correct that, right? How do we minimize that? How do we give more visibility into for construction companies? And then, we did that. We hit the ground running. We worked with several, a few hundred companies, mainly in Canada. And then, quickly it became the scenario of companies were surprised how easily and how receptive their end users were to adopting technology, right? Often our sales calls would, and get to a point where a decision maker is like, this is awesome, but my workers will never use it, right? So we had to kind of convince them that we could overcome that challenge. And once we did that, once we had adoption on the safety side, the reaction was, okay, what else can this platform do, right?
Yep.
The easy kind of next big splash that we did, what was really easy for us to get there, was time tracking. So as a foreman in the field, another like task that I had to do was, fill out all these time cards, paper time cards, people coming in and out of the job all day, high hourly rates, and kind of mismanaging that time. So we wanted to create a digitized process to that, and within the same platform. So understanding that, the only thing a worker hates more than software is two softwares, right? Like if we can get one place to do all their extracurriculars in, this would work best. So the extracurriculars, these workers don't want to do it on pen and paper. They don't want to do it on a phone. They don't want to do it at all. So how do we get them to work and doing the things that they're passionate about quicker? And that's where we designed the product. So one place where they can show up to work, punch in, clock in, track their time, and also complete their safety forms. Give one panel of visibility into a construction site to help sort of manage two critical tasks at field level that prior to this they had no visibility into. So that was kind of that next natural transition for us. Inevitably, the more construction companies we talk to, the more clients we onboard, they have all these really great ideas on what we should do, right? And some of those fit what we want to do and some of them don't. And we can't do all of the ideas. We kind of got to stick to the plan and stick to what the vision is. But I would be, lying to say that our product hasn't been shaped a lot by our customers throughout this journey, right? So interacting with them, understanding what are good features that are complementary to the features we exist already, has been very, very helpful.
Yeah. So coming from that, what made you guys decide, okay, we have this great platform for the field. We need, or our customers need that to then be integrated to some back office software like Acumatica. So like, at what point did you realize that integrating with Acumatica or another ERP was the next logical step in the equation?
Yeah, so that's a really, really great question. So we don't want to be, we don't see ourselves competing with the Procores of the world, the Acumaticas of the world. We're actually like very complementary to an ERP. And why I say that is because, a lot of these solutions that weren't built from the bottoms up, they were built top down. They have very little field adoption, and they kind of stop at this barrier of like who, the top is using it, but we can't get the bottom to use it. So the bottom, if you will, the 90% of the construction company are the workers that are working on the field and not the people in the office. These are the people who are actually ingesting the bulk of the data that we're trying to get back to the field. So we thought that the best play would be to fill a hole that these larger systems have at the field user level, create a system that allows us to ingest this data in a very, easy to use way by the workers, and then send all that information back up to the system of record, which is the ERP, the Acumaticas of the world.
Yeah, I completely agree. Getting that adoption from the field really takes a particular type of solution, and sometimes you can't be everything for everyone. So those integrations are super important. And I wanted to ask, why did you guys lean towards Acumatica? Was there feedback from clients? Did you just see Acumatica as a more future-focused platform, or was it some combination of those things?
So I'd say at the heart of it is it came up in many, many sales conversations, right? So we were seeing this, the 10,000 pound gorilla in the space for us has been Procore, right? And construction sort of ERP. And so everybody knows that, and it's the big name, but we were hearing more Acumatica. Like this was coming up more in the conversations that we were having with the types of construction companies that we were chasing. And we were also hearing that their view was that Acumatica was like the new up and comer, and they felt, this is where their company fit both. So we talked like in length about this, and we were really trying to, we can't do everything, like you said, be everything to everybody. And we wanted to understand where we would invest our resources, whether it be Acumatica or another ERP. And the conversations just kept coming up. We kind of, keep a tally of the conversations and be able to run reports on how many customers are requesting an Acumatica integration. And then, ultimately I think the final kind of like sign for us was we signed a very large client, one of our largest clients out of Toronto, really large, construction company, and they were using Acumatica. And it was very important to them that we integrated with that system, that we built specifically a native integration with that platform. So we did. So, working with that client, we thought it was a great opportunity, and it's proved to be very, very good for us.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a great story. I love when people are seeing Acumatica as this up and comer, this like really great new future focused system, because that's truly what it is. So that's awesome. And then I wanted to kind of lastly ask, what's next on the roadmap now for Corfix and Acumatica? Like what are the future steps, and how can we create a tighter knit environment there?
Yeah, so I think our product teams are working very closely to understand, where do we go from next? How do we get even deeper? How do we further customize this integration? So that roadmap isn't fully fleshed out yet. We're still having discussions with our clients and understanding, But I think the important thing is there's a huge potential, and there's lots of room to expand there. We decided very specifically to do a native integration here to be able to, have more flexibility and further customization rather than using, a third-party integrator. So we are in the process of developing a more longer-term roadmap for those integrations. I don't have anything specific right now.
That's awesome. No, just knowing that there's still going to be investment in that integration as the two solutions start to develop more and things like that, to make sure that they're, for any clients that are integrated, there's no issues with upgrading either system and things like that. It's just great to know that for the future. But thank you for coming on today on the Building Bytes show. I really appreciate your time, Shawn, and hope to talk to you again soon.